Coach?
Good.
All right. What have you seen in Mizzou's front six that's kind of similar to Corey Batoon and Kane Womack?
Well, schematically, there's some similarities. I think that what Kane has done here, it's kind of a mixture of a lot of guys in that room, what they've done. So it's not all the same as what we're doing here, but there's some base structure things and some base pressures that you see from both.
I'm trying to phrase this where it doesn't sound like I'm. Right now, would you say the feeling is encouraged or discouraged, or it's neither?
Well, there's nothing worse than what happened on Saturday, right? And so you get 24 hours and you want to go, and the anger, the disgust of just really not taking advantage of the opportunities we had to win a game. But then you got to grow up, and then when we get done with those meetings on Sunday evening, it's time to move on. And that's really important because you can't let the last play beat you what happens to some guys on the field, and you can't let the last game beat you twice. So then we got to be all eyes on Mizzou. And to me, we got this game coming up, and we're open after that. Like, this is like a one-game championship season to me. We got to get this thing done, and all focuses on that, and how can we get better. And so I feel like there's determination.
Talk about how you can get better. What are some of the coaching points to your guys this week in this game?
It's just constantly harping on the techniques and the details. There's some good things that are happening, but then am I blocking my man? But am I finishing? At the end of the day, once we make our calls and everybody gets their hats on the right people, right, then you got to win your box. If my man never makes a play, I'm going to have a good game. If 5 guys can keep their men from making a play 80-90% of the game, you have a chance to be successful. Now, there's other things that are out of our control. We all know that, but talking about my guys. So I want to see more strain, and I want to see more finish, and that's the thing about just the details, right? You're in a loud environment, and the fronts change and everything. We knew it. We worked on it. You got to be ready to communicate. You got to be able to execute. And so, again, we're just training to get better at everything we do.
Yeah, and when there are moments, because I saw at least one play where they brought more, they brought like 6 guys, 5 guys kind of thing. What do you tell guys, or how do you, I guess, try to improve on that?
Well, you have a game plan of how you're going to handle that, and then it has to be executed. So obviously, anytime they're going to bring more than we have to block, then there's either going to be some things we're going to change protectionally, or we know that who's coming free and how we can handle it, right? So it just comes down to an offensive execution when that happens.
Yeah, and you've the last 2 weeks have faced some really good fronts. Do you try to encourage guys after that, like, hey, look, you might not face much tougher than that, or what's kind of the message from that?
I think in this league you're going to face great fronts all the time. We saw some really good pass rushers a couple weeks ago, saw some this week, and you're going to see it every week. So it's about, when you're doing your job and winning those battles, you should build confidence from that. If you have a poor play, you lose it, then it's not about going in the tank. It's about, well, how did I lose it and what can I do to fix it? That should always be your mindset. And most of the time, it always comes back to fundamentals and technique, right? So that's the thing that you're just constantly harping on, is you can't go in the tank because you lost a rep. You got to figure out why. And if you're a good football player, a knowledgeable football player, you already know what happened, why it happened, and you should already be thinking about, okay, so all you got to do is fix it, and that's how your thought process should be.
This week, you said important to win.
Absolutely.
How about important to play well as opposed to win?
Well, I think it goes together. You know what I'm saying? Like, we talk about 1-0, one play. If you're an offensive lineman, you played every play like it was fourth in the game with that intensity and that care factor, then you have a chance to be successful, right? So it kind of ties together, right? It's for us to win the game, we have to have amazing practices. We got to be out there like straining, and they've worked really hard this week, probably harder than they have in a while, and I've been on them, and so I'm excited to see them respond on Saturday.
Past couple of games have been really kind of edge rushers versus tackles. Would you say this is kind of the same thing for Missouri?
We go a couple of weeks ago, they had some good interior pass rushers, and so did the last team. So I felt like the last couple of teams we played have had guys that can get to the quarterback from all spots. And this team here is talented. They rotate a lot of guys. They got good length on the edges. They got some big length, big long guys inside. So it's not going to change every week. We're going to have our challenges, and so we got to do. But we got good guys too. So we just got to do our job and do it correctly.
Is there a certain player that stands out at all on Mizzou's defense, or?
You know, I don't ever like to just pinpoint certain guys. I think they're all good, right? And every one of them are capable of beating us if we don't do our job. So that's the way we got to approach it.
We saw Wilkham come in a little bit. What was just trying to plug in somebody that, you know, was.
Yeah, you know, he's been improving in practice. So there was a chance for him to get out there and play a little bit. Pritch had some things he was working on at halftime. So, you know, kind of delayed that. But it was good to see Wilk get out there, and the plays he played well.
Pritch kind of had a rough game by the numbers. Is it something? Was he dealing with something, or was it more of a just? I mean, this is a really good edge rushing team.
Yeah, you know, it's that's the part that's tough. Like, let's say you throw the ball 45 times at a tackle, and let's say you win 42 of those or 40 of those. Everybody's going to see those 3 or 4 you don't, right? And they're going to stand out. You know, and I'll say the late sack. There's no question that guy was offsides, and that was tough for him, right? But yeah, he's been doing a good job of getting where he needs to be and getting on. Now he just has to finish better, right? So it's like anything else, you know. Every old lineman's beat up and tired this time of year across the country, so there's nothing different for everybody. So he did some good things. We just need to keep stacking those good things.
I know you guys send in plays like that. Did you get any feedback from that one at all, or
I don't even mess with that. I just, you know, that's you talk higher up than me.
I got you.
So I have no idea.
Did the message you tell Pritch is kind of just like the same thing you just told me in a sense?
Well, it's, you know, we're very critical of ourselves, and when we watch the film, we're really about the details, but it's also about, okay, you see when you did this and you were successful, right? What are the things you did? And then how can we continue to do that? And then, you know, one thing about being a tackle, when you're going to throw the ball a bunch of times, you have to be able to change it up a little bit. Those guys are too good if it's the same all the time. So that's important, not only for us as our technique, but for us schematically as an offense to give them different looks. So all those things are important. But it's again, if you're having some success out there, it's just a matter of being disciplined enough to do it every time.
How did he respond? Like did this week, you know?
He's been good. You know, he's been good. It's, you know, man, it kills him to not have a good play and let the team down. But they also understand that, you know, you got to put your big boy pants on and get out there and work. So that's what we're doing.
What kind of challenges does this Missouri front present?
So the effort level is very high. They got some good length in the interior too. So I just think it's a bunch of guys that have been coached well and play very hard.
Schematically, do they do anything that you've seen before, and how have y'all handled it if there has been?
Yeah, it's schematically, yes. We've pretty much seen everything this year, you know, so nothing surprises anymore. There's always some wrinkles each team has, but I feel confident. It's like anything else. When you play teams that are going to give you 2 or 3 different fronts at any time, you have to be really locked in and be able to prepare to be able to block that play against all fronts and be able to make the call that gets there, and that's important.
Last